So if you're just a firm that's interested in assisting a primary design engineering firm that will be actually doing a proposal, then it's not necessary that you chat and send us your information. The chosen design engineering firm that sends in a proposal to this RFP will be selecting any subcontractors or subconsultants themselves. That will not be up to the district. So again, we welcome everybody that's attending today, and we thank you for your interest in this project. San Mateo County Harbor District, new administration, building, design, engineering, permitting, RFP, request for proposal. Got one more person here entering. So again, if you will quickly just chat, this is a mandatory pre-bid conference. So we want to capture all firms that are the primary design engineering firm that will be submitting proposals. Everybody that is a design engineering primary firm that's going to be submitting a proposal, please chat your firm name and contact information so we can capture you as an eligible bidder for this RFP. Again, we appreciate everybody's interest in this project, but the sub-consultants, subcontractors will be actually chosen by the winning bidder, not the district. And this is not an invitation for bid, so it's not a request for actual contractors to do construction. Those that are just interested in the in finding out more information about our project are obviously welcome to stay on and listen in. So the San Mateo County Harbor District is an enterprise special district. We operate 2 large marine park facilities, Pillar Point Harbor in El Granada and Oyster Point Marina in South San Francisco. The district owns Pillar Point Harbor, which has 369 vessel berths, multiple public beaches, open spaces, coastal trail, and a retail center. It is a home to a large commercial fishing fleet. Oyster Point Marina, which the district manages on behalf of South San Francisco, has 408 vessel berths, largely for recreational vessels. It has large open park spaces and the Bay Trail. The district also currently leases a 4,400 square foot administration building, the entire second floor in El Granada. The district also owns a 0.31 acre, 13,576 square foot land parcel located at the northwest intersection of Avenue Portola and Obispo Road in El Granada. This property is where we propose to construct the new subject office building. Prior to the parcel purchase, the district hired a firm to conduct a feasibility study. We ran some rough sketches by the county planning of different options for location of the building, parking, and whether the building be 1 or 2 story. The property has overlapping zoning, but largely is C1 commercial. It was determined an office building that would fit the district needs was feasible to be built on this site. A riparian sit-back analysis has also been completed. The district wishes to maximize the square foot of the new office space, possibly leasing out a portion to generate revenue. The feasibility study determined that the size limiting factor may be the required number of parking spaces in relation to the square footage of the building. Again, we appreciate everybody's interest in this project and hope to get proposals from numerous qualified firms. It'll be very difficult, obviously, for us to eventually choose one, and we will be most likely setting up interviews for our top selections after our selection committee has tried our best to determine which firms are in fact best meet the district's needs. This is a shot here of Pillar Point Harbor, which is the facility, marine facility in El Granada that the district actually owns, with 369 slips. This is a shot of Oyster Point Marina. Oyster Point Marina has 408 slips and is the property that the district manages through an agreement with the city of South San Francisco. The city of South San Francisco actually owns Oyster Point Marina. So what we need to do is, or what the district desires to do, is build a new administrative office that we will own on this parcel here that's highlighted in yellow. I'm going over it with my cursor, that we've purchased. And that will be the new site for our admin building. This parcel is not real large. It is only 0.31 acres. And of course, you know, the square footage, like I said before, the square footage of the building that that we end up constructing will have demands for X number of parking that will also take up considerable space on the parcel. As you can see here in this picture, I'm going over now with my cursor. The lot is located right next to the United States Postal Service office there in El Granada, again at the corner of Avenue Portola and Obispo Road. The lot itself actually has a little bit of an angle, but is I think mostly flat buildable property. It does, the elevation is about 3 feet higher along the post office, and then slopes gradually down toward Obispo Road. Let me bring this back up again here. Not sure what happened there. Yeah, I'm having some trouble here. Bear with me for a minute.
So it looks like it went dark at that same slide for some reason.
Okay. All right, let's just exit out of this for now.
John, if you want to try sending it to me, I might be able to share my screen and you can direct me to
That's all
move
right.
forward.
That's most of the little PowerPoint that I had anyway, giving people an idea again of the actual site. So let's just move on. At this time, I'd like to answer any questions that any of you may have. And again, I've already responded to some questions, clarifications in the form of addenda number 1, which I've tried my best to send to all of you. And I'll continue to try to answer your questions even before the deadline. I'll try to get answers to your questions immediately as I receive them from you. But if you want to, at this time, ask any questions verbally, I'm happy to answer them as well right now. So if you want to raise your hands, if you have any questions, let's go through them. Any questions that I cannot answer now, again, or any questions that you may come up with at a later time, please shoot them to me in an email. Lizzie has chatted you my email address. You should all have already gotten emails from me as well. I've tried to include everybody into one email list, everybody that's expressed interest. And I'll continue to BCC everybody as I send information to you all. The list is going to be dwindled now today to just those that are attending this mandatory pre-bid conference. All right, so I'm seeing some hands raised. Let's go ahead and answer any questions that you may have for us today.
So I have Alyosha Verzbinski. You've been asked to unmute for comment.
Thank you, Mr. Moran. My question has to do with construction of this project. You had mentioned in the beginning of this presentation that sub-consultants will be under the design firm overall contract, and I understand that. But you also said that subcontractors will be under design firm contract. Are you looking for a firm that'll both design and build this project, or just the design?
No, that's just it's really sub-consultants in this situation.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, this is for, the request for proposal is simply design, engineering, permitting, and the scope of services that are outlined in the RFP, not actual construction. Once we compile all of the technical specifications, go through the process of determining what through public outreach and get our board approval for an ultimate design that is realistic with permitting considerations, et cetera. Then eventually we'll put those technical specifications into an invitation for bid that will again be publicly advertised for actual construction. All right, any other questions right now?
I don't see any hands raised. I did see some people typing questions into the chat.
All right, if you want to, Lizzie, if you can read off one of those questions, we can try to answer that now. I see another hand raised. Let's go with that first.
Perfect.
And I see a couple more hands.
Perfect. It looks like it's Sally Swanson. You've been asked to unmute for comment.
It's SSA Landscape Architects. I know Sally. I don't know if she's on the call as well.
No worries. Go ahead.
This is Steve Sutherland. I have. Do you anticipate on-site parking, or will it be only street parking?
That'll be largely mandated through the permit process.
Has the county given you any sense of what they expect from the square footage?
We hired, like I said, we hired a consulting firm to do a feasibility prior to purchasing the property, to do a feasibility study. And based on that, and the different configurations that we roughly put together as potential options, it was determined that there would need to be on-site parking, but that could be supplemented potentially by the parking along Portola Avenue. in front of the property that already, there's already parking existing there. But obviously there'll need to be ADA parking and additional parking dependent on the number of square footage of the actual building that we're
Right. Thank you. That answered my question.
We have Norton Ching from Nadell Architects.
Hi. Yeah, I was looking on the scope of services, the last page, and there's project funding assistance. And I was wondering what were the expectations on your project funding and assistance listed on the last page of your RFP?
Yeah, we'd like the expectation is that the selected firm is going to be responsible for looking and trying to identify applicable grant funding for a project of this nature. We also, the district also has an annual contract with California Consulting, the largest grant consulting firm in the state of California, which would also be assisting the winning firm in identifying and applying for applicable grants. But we do expect that the winning firm assists the district in identifying and applying for and supplying technical specifications information to help us identify and apply for any applicable funding sources. That answer your question?
Yeah, I just was curious to the extent you wanted the, the AE team involvement or the architectural lead involvement.
All right, let me just say that, we put together what we hope to have been a professional request for proposal. But we have reasonable expectations all along. There have been a couple comments about the word "all" being used frequently within the scope of services. Obviously, our team is in the district is reasonable. We are not, there can't be an expectation that you're going to be held accountable if a funding source was somehow overlooked. We expect due diligence and everybody to the winning firm to do the best they can to assist the district. And again, we do have California Consulting that will be assisting the winning firm as well.
Got it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right,
Okay,
next.
and we have Ronaldo Vasilisa.
Thank you. Yes, I have a similar question. The architectural aspect of it for most architects is easy to figure out based on size of project. The unknowns are the things like coastal commission meetings, permitting timeframes. Can you shed a light on what you know from your previous feasibility study about what kind of agency requirements you will be held to based on the fact that you're an agency for the county and the fact that you're on the coast, right there on the coast in the flood zone, or I should say the tsunami zone. And the other thing is the grant proposals are such an unknown in terms of time that you're going to get a wide range of guesses. Is there any way you can narrow that down to hourly scope or hourly expectations so that the architectural components are the variable and not the unknowns?
Yeah, I'd obviously very much like to narrow everything down, as much as is possible so that everybody's bidding apples to apples. All I can say is that that the feasibility study that we've done thus far was very limited. It was in discussions with county planning, it was determined that again, a building of the square footage that fits the district's needs is feasible on this site. And like for instance, the concerns about how much time it's going to be, how much time would be included or necessary to address the grant funding aspect of the scope of services. I have to leave that to the professional opinion of each firm. Obviously, firms need to bid in accordance with their experience and like projects, et cetera, and and not maybe look at a potential worst case scenario or mid case scenario. I don't anticipate that this project, because we have done previous due diligence, I don't anticipate this project having significant concerns. We did take into consideration the feasibility study that this property is within the tsunami inundation zone, but that we were told would not preclude us from getting permits to build a building such as we will meet our needs. Does that answer your questions?
It does, yes, partially. Let me ask the other question, which is again regarding grants. Usually grants don't fund projects ahead. They fund projects after the money has already been spent. So do you have a budget already to do this project, pay the architects and everybody, and then apply for grant funds, which will then be retroactive?
No, it would be more, and this is from my experience with the grants, is we first have to come up with the design of the building that we propose, and then get a engineer's estimate and the technical specifications. We can then seek the grant funding for that building that we desire to put together. And some considerations in potentially making our project applicable for grants would be their lead and potentially public meeting rooms, etc. So benefit to the public, etc. It could be that there just simply are no grants that we're going to be able to identify that are applicable in the time frame that we wish to to move forward with this project. We obviously aren't going to put together our plans for this project and then put it on hold until we somehow identify grant funding. So the district, so everyone understands, the district has its own funding for the design engineering of this project and the ultimate construction of this project, of what the board ultimately approves being built.
Thank you.
Kevin Zuko, you've been unmuted.
Hi, thank you. Kevin Zuko, ZFA Structural Engineers. We're wondering if there are any preliminary or nearby geotechnical reports that would be available prior to the proposals.
We do not have geotech information on the property at present. There's been no boring that we're aware of at this time. There's not been any kind of geotech studies completed at present.
There are no more hands raised in the chat. Shall I read some of the chat questions?
Yeah, it'd be great. And again, if we don't get to, somehow we miss a chat question or whatever, or the answer is not, doesn't fulfill the question, any written questions and any of these verbal responses, anything that you still have question about, please shoot me shoot me an email with the questions. And again, like I've already done, I'll continue to respond to those questions and copy everybody in that response, which will be via an addenda. And we also put the addenda on our website. So please continue to check our website as well for future addenda. So yeah, Lizzie, if you'll read off any questions, we'll try to answer those as well right now. Lizzie, you're muted.
So sorry. The first question was, is pre-bid conference recorded? If so, can I please request a copy? And this is from Evelyn Prasad.
Yes, it's recorded and we'll be having it placed on our website.
From Andy Carpenter, is there a project budget and who is the selection committee?
I'll start with the selection committee is made up of district staff, which myself, our director of administrative services, our planner analyst, and then we generally on the selection committee will also have outside professionals as well. And then as far as budget goes, I cannot say that there is a maximum amount of money that we are willing to have a cap on as far as the design engineering proposal. Evaluating all proposals, design engineering proposals resultant of this RFP based on the criteria laid out in the RFP. Once we've chosen the proposal that we believe best fits the district's needs, we will then open up the cost form for that firm. If we believe that that proposed cost is reasonable, then we will be bringing that proposal to our board for approval. If our team believes that that cost form for the firm that we determined was the best, would best fit the district needs, seemed high in some areas, or if we had questions about it, we would open up negotiations with that selected firm. If those negotiations become unfruitful, we then can go to our second choice. As far as construction goes, it will be dependent on what size, how many square footage that we end up, that our board ends up, what plan we end up approving. And, based on the professional advice of the chosen firm, and, the plans and ideas that the chosen firm comes up with that we present to our board will then approve those plans and technical specifications and authorize us to put the project to bid. Once we publicly advertise the invitation for bid, and we get bids back from interested contractors, we will then again choose the contractor that best fits the district needs and has the lowest bid, and that will be what we will move forward with.
It looks like some, Some people have requested assistance finding the raise hand feature on your screen. So it should be at the bottom in the meeting controls next to participants. If you click on that, raise hand should show up. And then if you're joining via the mobile app, it would be in the More tab. I do see another hand raised. So Alyosha Verzbinski.
Thank you. Mr. Moran, is there a construction budget for the project?
No, there's not. There's just not. We obviously don't know yet what even the square footage of this new building is going to ultimately be decided upon. So the district desires to build our new office building on the lot that we've purchased, and the district understands that there's a lot of construction demand in the Bay Area, and costs to build in this particular area may be higher than other places in the country, for example. So we do anticipate having to pay what it costs to build our building. So we are yet to have any kind of a engineer's estimate. That is one of the expectations of the design engineering firm, is to come up with an engineer's estimate after we've gone through a process of determining the building we desire.
Karen Marr.
Oh, hello. So I was wondering, on the addendum you posted, I think it was this morning or yesterday, that you said that we could respond by PDF. Is that PDF alone? So we don't have to submit the 6 copies and 1 original. I just wanted to confirm that. And then I do have one second question.
Due to COVID challenges, we are going to be accepting the proposals and cost forms via soft copies. So we do ask that you send them in 2 separate emails, and I will be sending an email back confirming receipt immediately upon receipt.
Okay,
And
so
if you do not receive a confirmation from me, I did give you guys my phone number, so feel free to call or email me if I do not reply a confirmation of receipt.
okay, so there's no need for the hard copies additionally, right?
Right, because due to COVID, we're
Yeah.
not going to require the hard copies.
Okay, thank you. And then my last question is, you mentioned that there was a study done on the site. Is that available to the respondents?
Yeah, all studies that we've conducted, feasibility study that we've conducted, the sketches, again, are pretty rudimentary, largely discussions and responses from county planning. So everything we have available, as far as the surveys of the lot, et cetera, will of course be available to the winning bidder.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Michael J. Castro.
Hi, good morning. Just one question. Could the district identify which consultants the district will engage directly, such as geotech, environmental?
The district will not be directly engaging with any consultants. This will be the responsibility of the winning bidder. Does that answer your question?
Yes, so you're gonna want the winning bidder to engage the geotech and environmental if needed.
Yes, yes. Everything, again, we say all a lot. We're not going to, in order for us to engage another consultant, we'd have to go through another RFP process. So we're reliant upon the winning bidder for this RFP to assist the district with everything necessary.
Okay, thank you.
Glynis Nakahara.
Yes, good morning. I have a quick follow-up question to Karen's clarifying question regarding the studies that were done. Who did the studies? Who did you work with on the studies? And did I hear you say that you're not going to make those studies available only after the team is selected?
Yeah,
Is that correct?
yeah, good question. And let me just say that the only studies that have been done is just a rudimentary feasibility study, which was largely us putting together some sketches. We hired a consultant to put together some sketches and touch base with county planning to ensure that, in fact, a building like we are describing could, in fact, be built on the property, that the codes, etc., weren't going to prohibit a building from being built there. They looked at historical challenges, historical site challenges. There's a plaque on the property, and of course there's riparian areas that can't be built on, like at the corner of Obispo and Portola, but it is a very small sliver, if you will. So all we have done thus far, there's no substantial study that would impact your providing a proposal to us. All we are telling you is that we have at present determined that it is feasible to, in fact, build a building on this lot. Does that answer your question? Lizzie, can you unmute the person who was just asking that question and just make sure I answered it thoroughly?
Sorry, yes, that's fine. Sorry, I had a hard time unmuting there.
Okay, thank you, Glynis.
We have Ronaldo Vasilisa.
Yes, thank you. Quick question. If through the design process, your consultant who now is really handling the whole project would recommend that you could save a great deal of money by going to design build, would you consider that, or are you against that concept?
Well, let me just say that the district is, is a public entity and responsible for, being fiscally responsible. So we would be interested in the most economical way to move forward. But it is our understanding at present that, just like all the projects that we do, we must go through an RFP process to bring on design engineering team, as we're doing now. Then we must then put out an invitation for bid for construction. So design builds, regretfully, are not an option for us. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
I don't see any more raised hands, but there are some questions still in the chat.
All right, let's read off one of those, Lizzie. Thank you.
Sure. So people are asking if the names and emails are shown. We can put together teams. So that's a request to make the list of participants visible, from Carol Steinfeld.
I respect the privacy of everybody that sends me any information that they may be interested in our project. Now that those firms that attended this pre-bid conference, mandatory pre-bid conference, and are going to be bidding on the project, the list of potential bidders will be public record. So we will be compiling a list of potential bidders that will be put on our website. Does that answer your question?
I'm not sure where Carol Marr is to unmute. I'm sorry, Carol Steinfeld, pardon me.
Well, she can raise her hand again if she needs a follow-up.
Okay, so the next question is, the addendum indicates that we can submit a copy of the proposal and cost estimate by PDF email. Please confirm that you're omitting the need for delivery of 6 hard copies and that electronic submittal is acceptable. And this is from Karen Marr, so I believe that question was addressed. My mistake. Catherine Ellis, Haley and Aldrich, are geotechnical engineering services to be retained?
Yes, those are to be retained by as a sub-consultant for the winning bidder. Any geotech or any other surveys that may be necessary, etc., need to be included in the proposal.
Is the feasibility study report available as a part of this RFP? And that is from a participant who's simply listed as Bill.
Again, the feasibility study that we've done at present, as I've said, was very rudimentary. Was simply to assure the district before purchase of the property that a property or that a building, an office building that fits the district's needs can in fact be built on this lot. That there's no restriction that's going to hamper our ability to build an office building within the square footage that meets the district's needs.
From Alan Garrettson, what district need drives the 90-day, 90% construction document requirement?
Again, I already addressed that in the addenda. We've eliminated that 90-day, so I refer you to the addenda.
I'm also seeing some more questions about raising hand and the raise hand feature. On the mobile app, it is located under the More tab or 3 dots. And then on the online version, I believe my mistake, it's in the Reactions tab at the bottom of the screen. That was a Zoom update, I believe, over the past month. So if anyone is still having those problems, hopefully that solves that. The next question, Charles Dellinger. Has a site survey been conducted? If so, can it please be provided so that the proposing firm knows if they need to provide supplemental services?
The district has a survey that came along with the purchase of the property, but the firms should include a more detailed elevation survey, etc., that would be consistent with anytime a building like we're suggesting, needs to be planned and permitted.
A participant called Akawasaki asks, here is my question. John just mentioned consultant is responsible for all consultants. Do you have an EIR?
An EIR most likely would be required for a project of this nature, and that would be the responsibility of like all permits, the responsibility of the respondent.
From Chris Wong, in quotes, develop and continue to refine a comprehensive project schedule, end quote. Shall development of the project schedule include the construction phase?
For this RFP, let's just, there's too many unknowns as far as the, to be able to schedule construction. So that will be limited just to the scope of services provided by the respondent.
I believe that is all of the questions that were typed into the chat.
All right, do we have any other questions for me right now? And again, if you think of, I see one more, but if you think of any other questions after this meeting concludes, please don't hesitate to shoot them in the form of, questions and clarifications in an email to me, and I'll respond and provide that to all persons that have showed interest in attending this pre-bid conference. All right, we got a couple more questions.
We have Chris Wong. You've been unmuted.
Hi, John. This is Chris Wong, Richmond Construction Consulting. I had a follow-up question regarding to the construction professional services. Without a construction schedule, that'll be somewhat difficult to inform the fee, like a lump sum fees at this time. Would an hourly rate for professional services, construction professional services, be acceptable for the proposal?
I'm sorry, clarify that question one more time for me.
So it sounded like from the scope of services for the construction services, construction professional services, you needed a lump sum fee, but we do not know the construction duration. So without knowing the construction duration, we're unable to really kind of refine how we're able to support that portion of the project. So in lieu of that, could we provide rates for various personnel during that phase of the project that to be negotiated later?
Okay, I'm just thinking about that's a good question, and I understand your concern. One way to look at that would be that we rely upon the experience of the respondents to to be able to estimate how long a construction project like this once again would take, but that would be, I think, relatively difficult. So I think it is reasonable for us to ask that that aspect be at an hourly rate. Does that answer your question?
I've sent him a request to unmute.
So yes, that does. Thank you very much. So we'll.
Yeah, we do want everybody to be bidding apples to apples. So again, if anybody has further questions in that regard and want responses in writing in the form of addenda, please send me questions via email and I'll respond to everybody in writing. But I will say right now that that I understand that concern, and the intent of the district is to get good, valid responses that we can compare equally and not have be comparing apples to oranges here. So giving us hourly rate for for the construction management or support is acceptable and may simplify it for everybody.
We have Akawasaki with a hand raised.
Hi, Liz and John. Yeah, it's Alan Kawasaki. Thanks. John, I understand the property is within the Coastal Commission jurisdiction, which goes to the LCP County. You also mentioned that you had a preliminary design done, and there's a pretty extensive community outreach requirement. So again, just so that we can all see apples to apples, have you presented that yet to the community, and is there a reaction or response?
No. Again, the rudimentary feasibility study was simply napkin drawings of floor plan that was basically of the square footage that would meet the district's needs, and that we ran by county planning to ensure that there were no deed restrictions or zoning restrictions that were going to prohibit us from building a office building on that lot that meets the district's needs. And the napkin drawing placement of the building that we ran by county planning, none of that is expected to be even considered by our proposers. You're going to be starting with a clean slate, and none of that has been run by the public at all at present.
Thank you.
I don't see any more hands raised or questions typed in the chat.
Okay, if we don't have any more questions at present, again, after discussing amongst yourselves, your teams, your individual teams, if you have more questions, please don't hesitate to send them via questions and clarifications before the deadline. And again, I'll try to respond to them and copy everybody that attended this meeting and put them on our website, and they'll be in the form of an addenda so that it can assist everybody in preparing their proposals. We've got no more at present. I'd like to thank everybody for attending and your interest in this project. And we hope to be able to move forward with interviews and a selection as quickly as possible after the proposals are submitted. But no matter what, we sincerely appreciate everybody's interest in this project. Thank you again. And that will conclude this meeting. Thank you.